Hello. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another live over here on Clark the Realtor's YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody who tunes in and comes every Sunday to have a discussion with us live. How you doing, David? Um, Thankful for you for being here tonight on this wonderful Sunday. If this is March Madness, I don't know how many of you guys kind of are into sports or basketball. So that is what is going on today. As usual, I just want to make sure that I check my to make sure I'm live, so I'm not talking to myself because on my end it's not showing nobody. But I just want to make sure, and then we'll jump into it. Okay, saying I'm not live. Let's see. I don't know what's going on. Let me know if you can see if I'm live or not. On my end it's saying that I'm not live, so let me just check if I'm live. Uh-oh, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. I always like to check. Hopefully, you guys, your Sunday is going well. And I'm just gonna check. Oh, hey, okay, you can see me. You can see me then. Cause for some reason I can't. It doesn't show that I'm live. But I'm guessing you can see me. Hello. Okay, you're live. All right, great. I don't know why I'm trying to. I always try to check on my phone and I can't never. And for some reason today, it's not even coming up. Typically, I can just touch it and it'll say that I'm live. But again, thank you guys for joining me today on this live. Today we're going to talk about different topics. However, one of them that caught my eye is in regards to this FHA loan borrowing situation that's kind of making its way into effect due to the current administration and what is happening. So I'm going to say hi to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. How you doing, Angela Matney? I'm guessing is that David? Is that your wife? How you doing, David? Thank you for tuning in. This is my dad. How you doing, Dad? He said, Clark, we hear you loud and clear. We see you too. Okay, perfect. So let's just kind of jump into it. If you guys are new to the channel, please don't forget to let me know where you're tuning in from. If you are watching the replay as well, let us know in the comments how you got over here, and hopefully you stay, subscribe, and like the channel. And also, if you're currently here, if you can like the channel to kind of push it out some more into the algorithm. And let's jump into this first topic that I want to talk about. And you guys, let me know your thoughts on this situation. This is something that is kind of making its way throughout. I heard about it through a current mortgage lender. He said, "Yes, my better half." Okay. I'm guessing that has to be your other half. Well, thank you for joining me, Angela. I appreciate it. And thank you, David, for telling your better half to tune in. I truly appreciate you guys. I'm like, let's see. So, and hopefully my computer don't act too crazy. Sorry about this. I was reading. So I don't know if you guys have seen what is going on. Of course, we all know what's happening in this current administration. I don't want to jump too much into politics, but I do know how politics kind of intertwine with what we're currently seeing when it comes to the housing market, and outside of that, other things that are happening. So it says exclusive HUD says HUD cracks down on government-backed mortgage loans for illegal immigrants. So if you guys don't know what HUD is, it is the housing uh, basically housing of urban development and blase as far as where we kind of develop some of these FHA backed loans at and different things like that. So let's see. So right here it says the Department of Housing and Urban Development announced on Wednesday that non-permanent residents will no longer be eligible for Federal Housing Administration (FHA) mortgages. National Review has learned part of a broader effort by the administration to ensure that American citizens are prioritized under taxpayer-funded housing programs following massive flow of illegal immigration under former President Joe Biden. All right, we're going to keep going here so we can talk more about this. So if you guys are considered a current non-permanent resident in the United States of America, let's make this bigger. I don't know if you can see it if it's bigger. If you are currently a non-permanent resident in the United States of America and you have went and you applied for an FHA backed loan, go back to your lender and just to make sure everything is good to go if you are trying to get into a house as a home buyer. I believe come May 25th, it kind of things kind of start taking effect. But it's always great to just go back and double check with your current lender. Again, I'm not a lender, however, all this goes hand in hand, right? Real estate, realtors, lenders, home inspectors, appraisers, we all go hand in hand. The client, we're a team in this process. So yes, what she said, heard I have been summoned at the okay. Well, David, you got somebody else joining us too. Well, thank you, Sam, for joining as well. Thank you, Angela and David, for telling Sam to come over here. I appreciate you guys for coming on this Sunday. But yes, let me know your thoughts, your feedback in regards to all this stuff that's kind of going on currently. It says FHA loans offer government insured mortgages to ensure that lower income individuals have access to home ownership. So as we all know, we have the FHA loan, right? That allows you as a first-time home buyer, if you want to put down as low as 3.5% when you're purchasing a house on your down payment, you're able to qualify if you haven't owned a house in the last 3 years. So even if you owned a house prior and you currently and you sold it 3 years ago, you haven't bought another house within that 3-year period. Once that 3-year period and a day kind of lapses, you now qualify as a first-time home buyer. If you've never owned a home before, you are also considered a first-time home buyer. And you can qualify for like an FHA loan. But always, again, trickle back to your lender to get more information around this. But that's how it typically works. And so it says right here, while illegal immigrants are technically ineligible to obtain FHA-backed home loans under U.S. law, HUD's announcement will strengthen enforcement mechanisms to ensure that illegal immigrants are not abusing the program in the future. It is unclear how many illegal immigrants have obtained FHA-backed loans. So they're basically saying, according to the government, as far as in the United States of America, it's really not legal for an illegal immigrant to basically take upon an FHA loan. However, there are numerous non-permanent residents, I'll just state it like that, non-permanent residents in America who probably do have FHA loans because they do not check your background status. Most of what lenders kind of do is if you have a social security number, if you have an ID, things like that, and if you also are eligible and you have, of course, your debt to income ratio is good, your credit score situation is good, they're not really going deep as far as, are you here as a legal citizen of America? Have you passed the proper channels to become an actual considered a permanent resident of America, as far as if you came here as a non-permanent resident and you've taken the test and you passed the stuff and you pledged to American to become a United States citizen. Hey, what's going on, Kevin? So Kevin Jefferson as well. He's a lender. He comes on 7 o'clock around similar time I come on. So I'm pretty sure he'll be live tonight. So if you guys want to jump over to Kevin's channel, he's a wonderful lender. He's the people's lender. So definitely go over there, subscribe to his channel, check him out. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. And let me know in the comments if you have time, if you can stick around in regards to this whole FHA loan situation with the non-permanent residents. So it's great to have him here. He's a very trusted lender, and he is great at what he does. So he can definitely chime in about this craziness that's going on. So let's get back to this article real quick. It says it's unclear. It says FHA does not retain citizenship or residency data from the loan application and therefore does not maintain information on the number of non-permanent residents who have received FHA insured loans under the past policies. Right here it says General Deputy Assistant Secretary for Housing Jeffrey D. Little wrote in March 26 mortgagee letter shared exclusively with National Review. This update ensures that FHA mortgage insurance programs are administered. Oh, sorry, my thing is freezing over here on my end. In accordance with administration priorities while fulfilling its mission of providing access to homeownership. All right, so Kevin, if you're still here in the chat with us, they said that this could possibly take place around May 25th. Some type of updates in regards to non-permanent residents when it comes to them trying to obtain a FHA loan. And so they are stating that some people should kind of go back to the lenders and check certain, like the case numbers and different things like that in regards to if they're able to qualify for a FHA backed loan. So this will affect the non-permanent residents again. The new policy will also prohibit government-backed mortgages for non-permanent, similar to what we stated early. Moving forward, currently non-permanent residents are subject to immigration laws that can affect their ability to remain legally in the country. Little wrote in March 26 memo, this uncertainty poses a challenge for FHA as the ability to fulfill long-term financial obligation depends on the stable residency and employment. So to me, when I read this, I was basically interpreting that they're kind of fearful. So say because of what's currently going on with the ICE situation and these illegal immigrants being picked up and kind of deported back to their countries, if um, say they were to qualify for FHA back loan and then they turn around tomorrow and they get deported by ICE, it's like who is going to carry out the rest of this loan? How does the loan get paid back per se? This is how I'm kind of interpreting it. I might be wrong, but let me know in the comments if Kevin's still here. Let me know if this is right or not, as far as what might be kind of interpreted here around this point. David said, "I wonder if this new rule requirement will drive up rents." Yeah, I'm not sure. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. All these new rules put in place. It seems like do I understand the whole thing of prioritizing American citizens as far as making sure they are getting the proper government-backed assistance that they need when it comes to loans to obtain home ownership? I totally understand it. However, in the sense like we're saying here, it's very vague to see. We don't know. Well, of course, I don't know because I'm not a lender, but I'm not sure if lenders, like they was kind of stating too, they're not privy to know about any type of citizenship or different things like that. So, like who's a non-permanent resident, as far as those different things. So, how would that in turn affect even the housing market going forward? Because we do have America is one of those countries where you can come into the country. It's supposed to be like the land of the free, home of the what is it? The home of the free, land of the great. I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Don't beat me up. But one of those places where you can come in and you can be able to fulfill any dream that you have coming from another country, to be able to hopefully obtain an American dream, a certain type of lifestyle in America, right? And now we don't know what this could possibly do. We don't know if this could it reduce homeowners the price of home ownership as far as prices. I don't know. Could it, like you said, could it drive up rents? Not sure. Not sure where this will lead at. But I just wanted to kind of talk about it and just have this whole conversation amongst us all to try to see what we're thinking about all this stuff. Will this lead to less competition for first-time home buyers? And that's another thing too, Angela, as far as this could possibly lead to less competition for first-time home buyers, which could be a good thing too, right? Because now you have, if the depending on where you live at, like I'm in the Sun Belt state, I'm in Georgia. We're seeing a lot of an increase of inventory down here, right? We have new constructions being built. We have an increase of resale inventory kind of popping up on the market, depending on what location you're in, what county you're in, what type of city you're in. And with that being said, now you have more sellers hitting the markets. And now if non-permanent residents who might have qualified for an FHA loan, they might not be able to come into the market with a permanent resident of America. So now you have a less amount of buyers, but you have an increase of possible inventory, which allows home prices to maybe shift or soften down a little bit. And then it allows for you not to compete so much, might not be so many offers kind of thrown in. So you're not getting a multi offer situation, and you're able to actually obtain and get the house you want, right, without having to overpay or kind of go above. If the appraiser comes back and say this house is too high above the appraisal we have it here, you don't have to now possibly pay for an appraisal gap, which people were doing. You can definitely make sure you get your home inspection done. So it could bring about a lot of opportunities for permanent citizens in America, whether you're born in America, whether you came here from another country, and now you're legally kind of sworn into America as a permanent resident. This could open up opportunities, right? So we don't know, but that's definitely a good question, David and Angela, in regards to what could this bring about, right? And that's what I was kind of figuring out myself. It says HUD's revised residency requirements for FHA-backed loans, which take effect on May 25th, will apply to defer action for childhood arrivals. So also the DACA of recipients, as well as individuals who are pending asylum or pending refugee status, according to HUD. Since there is no guarantee that their residency status will be renewed under the current administration, the new policy eliminates the non-permanent resident category entirely from the FHA single family Title I and Title II programs. So I don't know much about Title I or Title II programs. It's something that I kind of wanted to dig into a little bit more. But if Kevin, again, if he's still on his live, maybe he can tell a little bit about these Title I and Title II programs. But if you guys want to know more about it, please go, of course, Google and try to see if you can find out more about it so you can know what they entail. And reverses, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Reverses. A Biden era, sorry guys, policy which allows FHA loans for DACA recipients who provided a valid Social Security number and a work eligibility status. HUD Secretary Scott Turner's announcement is in keeping with President Donald Trump's administration-related executive orders and will be applied to future version of HUD's single-family housing policy handbook. Earlier this week, HUD and the Department of Homeland Security released a memorandum of understanding to announce both agencies' coordination on efforts to crack down on taxpayer-funded public housing for illegal immigrants. There will be no more illegal aliens getting HUD back home loans, Secretary Turner said in a statement to NR. The Biden administration exploited taxpayer resources and manipulated FHA policy to allow illegal aliens to ride the coattails of the American taxpayer when financing on a home. For those who play by the rules and work hard to purchase a home, it is unconscionable. Make sure I'm saying that right. Sometimes I read so fast, I'm like, am I saying these words right? HUD will continue to implement President Trump's executive order ending taxpayer subsidization of open borders and protecting the American dream of homeownership. On the 2024 campaign trail, this talks about everything that Donald Trump kind of said he would do. And so let's dive into now. So that's kind of touching on it a little bit. And then we're going to kind of dive a little bit fuller into this FHA situation. David said, I would suspect this new policy will be tested in court. Yes, it's definitely going to be tested in court, right? Everything that's kind of trying to be put in place is definitely going to be tested. People are going to try to see how is this constitutional per se? How is this lawful? So it's definitely going to be tested. This real estate in itself, I feel like almost every couple of years, lawsuits happening in court in regards to real estate. And well, David, there's always a lawsuit. So in real estate or tested in courts, and people, because people want to see how is this, like I said, constitutional. All right, I'm gonna make this big enough so you guys can see it. So this is kind of diving into it a little bit more as far as the HUD situation, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is talking about the FHA. This is the Mortgagee Letter 2025-2009. It just talks about subjects as revisions to residency requirements. So they basically talking about, this is basically, again, an in-depth look as far as the revised requirements when it comes to non-permanent or illegal immigrants, aliens, etc. Let's see what Kevin said. He is a lender, so he knows more than me, you guys. He said they think it saves homes for citizens, but if citizens don't qualify, they can't purchase. And that's another thing too, Kevin. Like Kevin said, if you, at the end of the day, if you can't qualify, you can't purchase a home anyway. So you have to be in the right space to qualify. And just because you're a non-permanent resident, it's just stating in regards to FHA, right? You can still possibly come in with a conventional loan with cash, and you can still purchase. From what I'm reading from this, let me know if I'm right or wrong, Kevin. It seems like you can still get other ways of purchasing. The government doesn't want to create assistance as far as off their dime to help a non-permanent resident obtain financial backing when buying a home. But at the end of the day, if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. So Kevin said yes, conventional and non-QM. So yes, so you'll still be able to, as a non-permanent resident, be able to get those other financing opportunities. It's just them trying to limit the FHA opportunities. MHOA said, "What's to prevent an illegal alien to becoming an investor?" Um, I think you can still, like we were kind of stating right here, you can still invest. We all know that with FHA loans, anyway, you have to live in the house for a year. I always say a year and a day just to be on the safe side, a year and a day before you can even rent the unit out and it become an investment property. Of course, we know people out there probably not doing that and they're committing mortgage fraud. But people gonna do what they want to do, and then when they get caught in situations, then they like, wait, what's going on? I didn't know this, and everybody start acting like they don't know anything. But I think you'll still be able to become an investor in regards to purchasing with conventional, like Kevin stated, non-QM, like the cash, all those other type of things, hard money loans, different things. You'll still be able to become an investor as an illegal alien. And we have a lot of, non-permanent residents that buy a lot of America. Most of our infrastructure in America is owned by, the Chinese, and we have a lot of foreigners who buy a lot of properties in America. So let's see what James Clark says. So James is my dad, everybody. Is that there is lawsuits in courts now challenging Trump's executive orders, so it might take a while before everything works out. Exactly, that's another thing too. We don't know how swiftly everything will kind of pan through the system, but it does state here, as we keep reading, it says this is effective come May 25th, 2025. So it seems like this is something that has been implemented. And I don't think the way it's kind of reading, it's not in the sense of it's implemented through Trump. It seems like it's implemented through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So it seems like HUD is kind of putting these things in place in the sense of like, oh, if these illegal immigrants are purchasing and they're buying homes with FHA backed loans, if they were to get deported, this could have it could create repercussions, however you guys say it, in regards to, I guess, the loan getting paid back. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. So let's go back to the article real quick. It states right here that effective date, the provisions of this ML, which is the mortgagee letter, may be implemented immediately, but must be implemented for FHA case numbers assigned on or after May 25th, 2025. So again, if you have a FHA approval letter now, and if you're a non-permanent resident, I definitely would say, you should be okay. Again, talk to your lender, really ask questions about this thing that's possibly occurring, or it seems like it is occurring on May 25th, just to make sure you're okay to still purchase as an FHA borrower if you are a non-permanent resident. And then it says right here, it says all policies updates in the ML will be incorporated into a forthcoming update of the HUD Handbook 4001 FHA Single Family Housing Policy Handbook. Let's see. I didn't want to bring up this handbook now because I was like, I didn't want to bring it up too early, and I wanted to wait till it kind of got updated. So, excuse me. So once we see this updated thing take place, then we can kind of circle back around to it and touch on it. Effective programs, the provisions of the ML apply to all FHA Title II single family forward and home equity conversion mortgage, the HECM programs. So talking about single family homes right here, says the U.S. So this is some background of the housing and urban development. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is HUD, is updated its residency requirements for borrower eligibility for FHA insured mortgages. This update aligns FHA requirements with recent executive actions. Let me make this bigger for y'all on the screen because I can see it, but I don't know if y'all can see it. And whoever might be watching it on the playback wants you to be able to see this. And you can definitely go to the HUD website to find these documents to kind of read it over again if you need to do so. This updated aligns the FHA requirements with recent executive order actions and that emphasized the prioritization of federal resources to protect the financial interests of American citizens and ensure the integrity of government-insured loan programs. The administration has reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding economic opportunities for U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents while ensuring that federal benefits, including access to FHA-insured mortgages, are reserved for individuals who hold lawful permanent resident status. Currently, non-permanent residents are subject to immigration laws that can affect their ability to remain legally in the country. This uncertainty poses a challenge for FHA as the ability to fulfill long-term financial obligation depends on stable residency and employment. Under 24 CFR 203.33, HUD requires mortgagees to evaluate a borrower's ability to sustain long-term financial commitments, and no statute or regulations address non-citizen eligibility for FHA-insured loans. In the past, FHA residency requirements have required mortgagees to document the borrower's lawful residency status, demonstrating long-term financial stability and eligibility for federal programs. FHA does not retain citizenship or residency data from the loan application and therefore does not maintain information on the number of non-permanent residents who have received FHA-insured loans under past policies. This update ensures that FHA mortgage insurance programs are administered in accordance with administration priorities while fulfilling its mission of providing access to homeownership. So, yes, Dave, like David said, please make sure that you guys give the stream a thumbs up. We kind of want to keep growing this channel over here. We're almost close to 1,000 subscribers. We do have to get our public view watches up as well. So the more you guys view, even if you turn the stream on and walk away, or turn the phone down, or turn the computer on and walk away and go watch a TV show, it still gives me some views. And if you are watching this on a playback, try to watch it for at least 20 minutes of screen time. And again, even if you don't want to hear me talk the whole time and you just want to put me on silent and walk away, I still appreciate your time to just come over here, click on the channel, like it, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button. But thank you, David, for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. It says summary of the changes. The ML removes the non-permanent resident section in its entirety, eliminating eligibility for non-permanent resident borrowers, and updates the requirements for permanent residents in the following sections: residency requirements, requirements, non-credit qualifying exemptions, and special documentation and procedures for non-credit qualifying streamlined refinances. So this is different particular sections inside of their, I think, the handbook and everything like that. If I'm not sure, but Kevin, if you're here, let me know if that's all inside the handbook. It says FHA Single Family Housing Policy Handbook. The policy changes will be incorporated into Handbook 4000.1 as follows. Title 2, Ensure Housing Programs, Forward Mortgages, General Borrower Eligibility Requirements. It says 9, Residency Requirements. The mortgagee must determine the residency status of the borrower based on information provided on the mortgage application and other applicable documentation. A Social Security card is not sufficient to provide immigration or work status. The following categories of individuals are eligible for FHA-insured financing in accordance with requirements set forth. So it says permanent residence. A borrower with lawful permanent residence status may be eligible for FHA, so we know that. Required market documentation. The mortgagee file must include evidence of lawful permanent residence and indicate that the borrower is a lawful permanent resident of the URLA. Not sure what that is. So if anybody knows what that is, let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the playback, even if you Google it, let me know what URLA means, because I want to make sure we all get the correct information. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, within the Department of Homeland Security, provides evidence of lawful residence, permanent resident status. A, citizens of Federated States of Micronesia and the Republic of Marshall Islands, or the Republic of Palau. I don't know if I'm saying it right. A borrower with citizenship in the Federated States of Micronesia, the Republic of Marshall Islands, or the Republic of Palau may be eligible for FHA-insured financing, provided the borrower satisfies the same requirements, terms, and conditions as does a U.S. citizen. So this is what I found very interesting. I've never even heard of this particular stuff before. I had this conversation with my dad about like the Micronesia, the Federated States of Micronesia. And so I wanted to touch on that, because I was like, what is this? I've never heard of the Federated States of Micronesia. If you guys have heard of it before, please let me know. But basically, it is a at one time the United Nations had this particular island per se inside of a like it was like in a trust, and America administered over this trust of this particular islands or these islands. And in the sense of that, they're not a territory of America. They were in trying to take over, like to gain its independence. And in 1986, they did so. And it was very interesting to know that the United Nations puts let me get out and then I'll show you guys this real quick. It's very interesting that the United Nations puts these that they have stuff in trust, and I didn't know that. And we're not going to be too long on this because I know this had nothing to do with housing, but I'm always fascinating to keep learning more and more things about everything. So it basically says the Federal States of Micronesia. If I'm saying it right, I might be saying it right wrong. It says an FSM emerged from the trust territory of the Pacific Islands, which the United States administered on behalf of the United Nations from 1947 to 1978. The FSM adopted its own constitution and became an independent country in 1979 and entered into a compact of free association with the United States in 1986 and became a member of the United Nations in 1991. The first financial package of compact covered 15 years from 1986 to 2001. Under provisions of the compact was extended for 2 years while the United States and the FSM completed negotiations for a new financial package in 2003 covering. So basically, it's very fascinating. It's something that I'll probably dive into some more. I figured why not talk about it? It is inside of this document. We're going to kind of breeze through the rest of this document real quick. Let me know if you guys have any questions about all this craziness that we see. That's kind of going on. David said, according to ChatGPT, URL stands for Uniform Residential Loan Application. Okay, all right, that's good to know. Thank you, David. So it stands for the Uniform Residential Loan Application. So if you guys want to put that in Google, find out more about what the Uniform Residential Loan Application stuff is, or what it looks like, or anything like that. Thank you, David. I appreciate you doing that. I truly appreciate that. Let's see. Let's go back to this real quick. So if you are part of the Federal States of Micronesia, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, Republic of Palau, if I'm saying that right, you could still qualify to utilize an FHA insured financing, a loan. Just got to make sure the requirements and everything satisfies. And so this talks about more of like the stream out refinances. I think they're also updating stuff in regards to like reverse mortgages. That you have to be now a permanent resident. You can't be a non-permanent resident no more. So that's going to be interesting too. Again, if Kevin is in the chat still, let us know information around that, because that's going to be very interesting if you are still in, like, say if you're in America and you've never got your citizenship yet, and you're trying to do a reverse mortgage, say in your 60s, how does that affect you? Because that'll be very interesting. Kevin said though, 1003. Okay. Wow. So thank you, Kevin, for all that. Thank you, David, for pulling those things up. And again, thank you guys for joining tonight. And then now let's kind of move into, I'm like, time flies so fast. I'm like, always, every time I get on here, I'm like, am I going to be able to talk about the stuff? And then time goes by very fast. So I wanted to touch on this too as well. My dad said, he said, it begs the question, what other territories is our tax dollars going to support? David, what you say? So David, what you say about that? I want to touch on this. So we're going to get out of this whole FHA loan back situation as far as non-permanent residents. And I wanted to touch on this if you are a home buyer or if you're a home seller in regards to some of the contract, a piece of the contract. I'm not going to touch too much on it. But I recently was talking to a possible new client, and they are currently going through a process of working with a realtor that they think they are going to exit out of the contract with, and they're thinking about possibly working with me. Hopefully, God will allow me to be able to help them out to my best ability. because I never, I don't try to put down other realtors. I just say that we as realtors have to be very conscious about what we do, how we do business, because what happens is that one mess up is a blanket statement against us all. So let's dive in real quick, and I'm gonna make this quick with this contract stuff. If you guys want to know more about contracts, let me know. I'll do a whole live where we can go through contracts. I know one of the lives I kind of breeze through the contract as well. So right here, so let me give you the brief story behind this, and then we'll dive into the contract as far as when it comes to Georgia. David, I'm not sure if your contracts over in Omaha, Nebraska is like this. If you guys don't know, David is a realtor out in the Omaha, Nebraska area. So if you are looking to move to Nebraska, if you're interested in buying or selling, go over there, give David's channel a like, a subscribe, and check out some of his wonderful content. I like watching it. And then also check him out on Tuesdays when he live streams at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then I guess Omaha is what? Is that Central or is that Western Coast time? But Central time, it would be 7 p.m. West Coast time, it would be 5 p.m., right? Hopefully I'm right. Let me know if I'm right, David. But so the reason why I'm touching on this contract real quick is because, like I said, a current client, they are looking to basically terminate with their agent. The agent sent them over a unilateral termination agreement for them to sign. And I told that particular client, hey, it might be better for you guys to mutually terminate, because with a unilateral termination, you are still obligated to certain things in regards to your agreement in the contract. Okay. So I always tell people, if you can mutually terminate. But let's see what David said. I would say if you are from a U.S. territory, you should be able to purchase even if you are not a citizen. I agree, because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory and they need to be able to purchase in America. So this part right here, and inside of the contracts, and our contracts in Georgia, again, every state, every contract, the contracts are different because different lawyers draw up different contracts. However, we have a protected period right here. It says number 5, and it says the length of protected period during this time, brokers shall be entitled to compensation under certain circumstances where this agreement has been unilaterally terminated by the seller or has expired, shall be, and then you put X amount of days. Typically, we put about 120 days, which is 4 months. But I tell people, if you want to get out of this protection period, make sure if you no longer want to work with your realtor, if you're not satisfied with your realtor, you just want to make a change. Maybe you just feel like they're not working hard enough, right? Nothing against them. They've done what they can do, but you feel like, let me try also over here and see what somebody else could possibly do, right? Doesn't mean that other person could get it done opposed to this person. Not really. However, what it does is it allows you some breathing room to kind of figure out what you want to do. Nonetheless, you want to make sure, instead of kind of getting a unilateral termination, to try to ask the brokerage to give you a mutual agreement. So that means that you and the broker have agreed to mutually terminate said contract, so you're not obligated to anything in regards to that. So let's go down here to where it kind of breaks down the protective period so you guys can understand a little bit about it. I feel like we read this before on here. Like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time with all this, or just because these contracts, because I literally, every time when I sit with a client, I sit here and I go through, the contracts. So I know people like, Devon, shut up. So that the protective period shall be the period of time set forth in this agreement commencing upon the expiration of the unilateral termination of this agreement by a seller, during which brokers shall be protected for its compensation or leasing compensation as applicable. If this agreement is unilaterally terminated by the seller without the consent of the broker, the protective period shall be A, the number of days remaining on what would have been the original listing period had it not been terminated, plus the number of days set forth at the protected period in section A.5, which we read earlier of this agreement. There shall be no protective period if broker and seller mutually agree to terminate. So again, if you're doing a unilateral termination, and again, David, if you're here and you want to kind of chime in on this, if you're doing a unilateral termination and you as a seller is terminating and the broker is, and the broker per se is not terminating, but you're terminating, you still are possibly subjected to whatever that protection period says or any of that procuring costs. So if you're on the buyer side, if you had went out and saw houses with a buyer's agent and you decided you didn't want to work with that agent no more, they send you over unilateral termination. What will happen is that if you go back and buy that particular house, that agent could be able to obtain commission from you. And on the listing side as well, if any type of transactions, any clients come in during the process to buy the house and a procure and call situation, you could be on the hook of paying that compensation if it is unilaterally terminated, even if you try to go with another a brokerage. However, if you mutually agree to terminate, which it says right here, it says there shall be no protective period if broker and seller mutually terminate this agreement. So make sure you guys always mutually terminate the agreement unless you find yourself wanting to go back to this particular agent in the future. You can allow the agreement to kind of expire out, which typically when you sign an agreement, don't never sign no year agreements with realtors or brokerages per se, because unless you guys mutually agree to terminate, you could be caught up in a bunch of a mess. Right here it says, in this event that during the protection period, seller enters into a contract to sell, lease purchase, or lease with an option to purchase of any of all or any portion of the property which during the term of this agreement was shown to any buyer, either in person or virtually, or such buyer was provided information about the property, either directly or through a broker working with the buyer, then the seller shall pay broker at closing or the commencement of the lease purchase, or lease with an option purchase as applicable, the compensation or leasing compensation set forth. It says, notwithstanding the above, if this agreement expires and is not unilaterally terminated by the seller, the following exception to the above compensation obligation shall apply. Specifically, no compensation or leasing compensation as applicable shall be owing to broker if seller signs an exclusive seller brokerage engagement agreement with another broker. And so basically right here is stating what we kind of talked about earlier. If you mutually agree to terminate, going forward, if you sign with another broker to help you sell the house, you're not on the hook of that protection period, or also if you allow that period in which you guys had a contract together expire. So up here you'll know as far as how long your agreement is with the broker. And again, every state is different, so talk to your realtor in that particular state. But in Georgia, this is what it's kind of looking like as far as our contracts right now. Contracts always change because guess what? Something always occurs every year. Lawsuits happen, so they go in there and they start changing words, start changing stuff. So right here, you will see the commencement of the date you agreed to work with this broker. And right here, you'll see the ending of this agreement. Typically, what I do when I work with clients on the buyer side, I typically do about 3 to 6 months. It just depends on how the market's looking. I always want to make sure that the seller side, I always want to make sure the seller's okay. If it's a higher price point, just because looking at the market that we're in right now, I know that things are sitting this amount of days. So it might take this amount of days to kind of get the process through. Again, I always let clients know, though, that in this process, in this contract, if you are not comfortable, if you feel like it's not working, if you feel like you want to go another way with another realtor, just come to me, let me know, and I'll talk to my broker, and we'll make sure we mutually terminate the agreement. So you can basically leave at any time, right? You're not stuck to a realtor. You can leave at any time, and I'll make sure people know that I'm not here to hold you hostage. I'm here to inform you, to make an educated decision, and you can do what best suits you as far as when it comes to your real estate needs. All right. But I want you guys to know you're not locked into a contract, but if you are going to terminate, mutually agree to terminate the contract. All right. So let's get out of that. I just wanted to let y'all know a little bit about that. David said, we have not seen very many expire over the past few years. Okay. So you haven't seen a lot. And then he says right here, sorry. Ours is basically the same. The protection period is negotiable. Okay. So yeah, so we're basically seeing the same thing. All right. Thank you, David. So yes, so just make sure you guys read that fine print, because like I said, I talked recently to a particular client that I might work with going forward, and I wanted her to understand what was kind of being talked about. All right. I wanted to get into a little bit about Zillow, because I get so fascinated with Zillow. I really want to do a whole live about Zillow, and I want to do a video about Zillow. But let's dive into real quick about this home builder situation. I don't know if I have time to talk about Zillow, but I want to talk about Zillow because I found out that a lot of people, some people they love Zillow, and but they still don't know how Zillow works. In regards to, I'm saying, when it comes to you going on Zillow and you see a house that you like and you're like contacting an agent, and people think they're contacting the listing agent, but in reality they are contacting a Zillow agent. Basically, these are agents that are paying Zillow for leads. There's nothing wrong with agents paying for Zillow leads. So I want the agents to beat me up if any agent comes, in the comments after we finish this live, and they're like, Devon, what you talking about? I'm this is how I do my business. There's nothing wrong if that's how you do it. I just want to create more transparency for consumers in regards to every time you click on that Zillow button. Actually, let's just jump into that real quick. Let's exit out of this so you guys can see. And then if we have time, we'll jump into the home builder situation as far as the units being unsold. If not, then we'll just do it on another live. But let's jump into, let me show you guys a little bit about this Zillow. I want to make sure, okay. I want to make sure I don't put the daggone address in there. So this particular Zillow right here that we're looking at, I'm working with a client currently right now in Braselton, Georgia, to help him sell his house. And so I just went on this page. I'm not going to show his address, even though I can, because it's on Zillow, but if we do it on YouTube, I don't have a bunch of subscribers, so they literally flag all my content. Excuse me. And I'm like, what are you flagging my content? I don't make no money over here. But anyway, all right, so right here, when you go to Zillow, right? Okay, let's go to the top. Let me hide, this is some of our description that we wrote. I decided I'm working with another agent to co-list this. So I always feel like working together, the more the merrier. That's just me. I'm not an agent that's afraid to share commission, split commission. I know a lot of agents like, Devon, you always want to bring somebody on to a listing. I'm like, yeah, the more the better, because we all need help. Okay. So I don't care. But that's me. That's not everybody. So anyway, so as you scroll down on the listing, you like, oh, I like this house. I see it on Zillow. So right here, it states the listing agent. Listing provided, Devon Clark. My colleague is helping me with the listing, Deborah. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go see this listing, right? So you click contact agent. I'll pray to God. I'll pray to God. I'm not gonna type nothing in there because I don't want nobody hit me up. But you could click contact agent, right? And what it'll do if on Zillow, what'll happen typically is that it will contact an agent who is paying for this particular zip code, this particular area, in regards to they're getting leads through Zillow, right? And so then that agent will then, what'll happen is basically you'll plug that information in, it'll turn around, it'll hit somebody over at the Zillow team per se. They in turn will then hit the agent will in turn, they'll connect you either on phone right away or you'll get a call back or whatever. I don't know how it works because honestly, I've never been a Zillow agent. Well, let me not say I don't know how it works. I know how it works, but I haven't experienced it because I've never been a Zillow agent. But anyway, it'll go that way in the sense of contacting you, and you will then in turn get a phone call, get connected, and you'll go to an agent that's not the agent of the listing, right? What happens with Zillow, which I think people are kind of getting a gist of now, is that Zillow is aggregating all of our data. When sellers sign a listing agreement, what's basically happening, and I'll take this off the screen real quick. What's basically happens when sellers are signing a listing agreement, the IDX, those particular technologies, they are aggregating the data out of our MLS, and then it's going on to these third-party platforms, Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, and I think Zillow owns Trulia, I believe. These other third-party platforms, Redfin, everything, they're aggregating all the data and it's being put onto these other platforms. And then in turn, people are paying for leads on the platform. Some brokerages pay for the leads, some realtors pay for leads as far as creating teams. And then in turn, when consumers come on the website to look at said property, they click on contact an agent, and then it goes into whoever's paying for that particular county, more of the zip code really, because you're paying by zip codes. and you're getting those leads. So people are paying fees, monthly fees, annually fees. Again, I don't know what type of fees they're paying when it comes to those to the Zillow leads. And then also another thing you'll see if you to know how to know if someone is also a Zillow, possibly paying for Zillow leads and a Zillow realtor, is if you go to Zillow. I don't want to put this person on blast, but if you go to Zillow and you see a badge next to a person's name that says top agent on Zillow, uh, 9 times out of 10, the top agent on Zillow is possibly somebody who is part of the Zillow Premier system, and they're paying for leads through Zillow. Um, I don't know if every agent that's on Zillow, just because they don't have a badge, I don't know if they still might be paying. Maybe their company's paying, but they're just not paying for it. I don't know, but I do know that the ones with the badges, they are typically the ones that are paying for those leads. Again, that is the new way of doing business, so I understand what people are doing. And people that might not have time to go out, like I still door knock, I still go out to events. My whole thing again around real estate and the purpose of the YouTube channel and the social media, just like David, Christina, Jackie, Jen, all these wonderful realtors on YouTube and Shahida Hill, is to educate people about the real estate market, but also inform them to make educational decisions, but having the knowledge to do so, right? And then you go, and then another thing that you can see again when it comes to Zillow, and right here, you see how it says top agent? It says the top agent right here. And then it kind of talks about says agent teams achieve best of Zillow status, get a special digital badge added to their profile so customers know you're the best. And then it basically talks about right here, it says getting access to previously sold out zip codes and connect with our highest intent leads. So again, people are paying for these leads on Zillow. So yeah, so you just got to know what you're doing. I'm not saying there's nothing bad about connecting to a Zillow agent. He said we have some agents in our market paying tens of thousands a month from Zillow leads. Yes, agents are paying a lot for these leads. Brokerages are paying a lot for leads. And I'm not saying just because these agents are paying for these leads or these brokerages are paying for these leads that these are not great agents. However, you have to be very conscious to know that everybody that's paying for leads might not be the best, right? And I know a lot of people also look at it too. So like they'll go to Zillow and say, okay, this agent is selling. Oh my God, they have 30,000 sales or whatever. Even though I've never seen an agent with 30,000 sales, but like say they have like 100 sales the whole year, and people think like, oh, that's the agent I want to go with. They have so many sales. Sometimes a lot of agents like to have uh, quantity over quality, and I'm a more of an agent that like to have the quality over the quantity because I don't want to have to waste anybody's time when working with them. So I prefer to have a smaller number of people that I work with, and and I've learned as far as being in real estate that it's not always about working with everybody, and vice versa. Everybody doesn't want to work with you, and you don't want to work with everybody. And and I don't want to scare people away, but I just want to be honest that um, because I really take time to look into everything and dig into stuff. I'm not doing hundreds of thousands or 50 deals a year and all this stuff or whatever, because I'm really wanting to make sure I can do service to the person that I'm working with, because we're a team, so we need to work together to achieve success together. So yeah, so that's a little bit about Zillow. I kind of wanted to dig into also understanding but what we're going to do is I'm not going to get to dig into that because that'll take forever. If you guys don't know, I'll let you know exactly what Zillow is, because I think sometimes people forget that Zillow is a technology company. It's a technology company that aggregates, real estate data. So let me make this big real quick so you guys can see what they said with Bloomberg and Zillow Group Inc. I don't know if you guys can see that. It basically states, it's kind of dark. Let me see. It basically states what Zillow is, because I think people seem to sometimes forget. And don't mind it, y'all, with this whole pay, because I'm not paying for no Bloomberg. So we're gonna go through what it means real quick, and we're gonna get off of this website because they try and charge me for every little thing. It says Zillow Group Inc. is a tech real estate marketplace company. The company provides information about homes, real estate listings, and mortgages through websites and mobile applications. Zillow Group serves homeowners, buyers, sellers, renters, real estate professionals in the United States. So again, people have to remember that Zillow is a technology type of based company. It doesn't aggregate data, doesn't provide information to consumers around real estate. It does, however, it was a point, like the whole purpose of it, from when I even watched the one of the founders that founded it. He founded because when he was trying to buy a house back in a couple what not it hasn't been long ago. It's like Zillow, I think, started in like the early 2000s or mid 2000s. Um, when he was trying to buy a house, he couldn't find any information about like comparables in the area. And he was feeling like, oh, am I getting duped because I don't know what these other houses really sold for outside of what they might tell me or what I might see. But so they wanted to kind of create a place where everybody can see what things are going for and different stuff. So that's like one of the reasons, outside of many others, of course, as people develop stuff, they create more and more reasons behind stuff. But that was one of the many reasons that he talked about why he created Zillow. It will be interesting to see the NAR policy of clear cooperation and the impact on Zillow. Yes, it would be very interesting to see where that kind of goes. We're already seeing it in regards to, of course, of not being able to, not this part of it, but as part of not being able to see like that compensation kind of posted in there. There are some private MLSs that they don't cooperate with certain things, so you can still possibly put the compensation inside the system. However, you know, I think it just depends. But it will be very interesting, David, to see. So we can probably jump into this real quick because I thought I was like I said, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Zillow, but I didn't want to go too much on a tangent. I'm kind of all over the place tonight because what I'm hoping to do as well is try to, clip some of these topics that we talk about and kind of create them and throw them on YouTube so you guys don't have to watch the whole hour video. I would appreciate it if you did, though. I would appreciate it. So let's talk about real quick this whole thing in regards to the home builder situation of these new homes that are being built. And again, this might not affect you because you might not be in this particular state. A lot of this is around the Sunbelt states. So it says home builder completed unsold inventory hits 15-year high. Here's what it means for 2025 housing market. Lennar co-CEO John Jeff, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Jaffe, I don't know, said that the spring 2025 selling season for America's second largest home builder is off to a slow start. He said, we do not see seasonal pickup typically associated with the beginning of the spring selling season. So we continue to lean into our machine, focusing on converting leads and appointments and adjusting incentives as needed to maintain sales pace. These adjustments came in the form of mortgage rate buy downs, price reductions, and closing cost assistance. So this is interesting too when it comes to yes, David and Kevin, please connect. Again, Kevin is a wonderful lender. I believe he's licensed in the state of Omaha, Nebraska. I could be wrong, but let David know if you are or not, Kevin. Definitely connect to each other. And Kevin has a wonderful YouTube channel called Kevin Jefferson, the People's Lender. And of course, David has a wonderful YouTube channel called Living in Omaha, David Matney. So follow each other, subscribe to each other. Maybe we should all one day get on the live, all three of us together, and have a good conversation. I know it might be a lot going on, but I feel like it's always great to have great minds talking real estate together. It says last quarter, Lennar offered buyer incentives on its typical sale, totaling 13% of homes sell price, up from just 1.5% in quarter 2022 during the peak of the pandemic housing boom. On a $400,000 home, that 13% incentive amounts to $52,000. So they're basically saying they were giving about $52,000 worth of incentives out when purchasing a house. So instead of the home builder, and David kind of knows this as well. Sometimes home builders, because they're building in a subdivision, they don't really want to strip equity out of people's homes. They're trying to find other ways to give people. They're trying to create other incentives, right, to still make people buy the house without bringing the price down. And so this is one of the incentives or the ways that home builders are trying to currently do. And they're giving the interest rates, the buy downs. Understand what a buy down is, you guys. If you don't understand, Definitely talk to a lender, get some direct understanding of what a buy down is. Some I know down here in Georgia, some of these new constructions are buying your rate down for a 30-year fixed. So if it's a 30-year fixed, that's even better. Um, but understand like a 2-1, a 3-2-1, all that stuff, those buy downs, to understand how that affects your mortgage going forward. Um, Right here, it says this weaker housing demand environment is causing unsold completed inventory, and in particular in the Sun Belt to tick up. Indeed, since the pandemic housing boom fizzled out, the number of unsold completed U.S. new single family homes have been rising. So this right here shows you from like the numbers that have kind of what it looked like with the unsold completed inventory in the Sun Belt states. Again, you guys, Sun Belt states, and we're going to clarify what typical Sun Belt states, um, where the Sun Belt states are on our map in America. But it says in 2018, there were 63,000, 2019, 75,000, 2020, 77,000, 2021. As you guys know, it was uncertainty in 2020. So it might have put like a less built happening as far as new construction until things kind of pick back up. And then in the midst of that, people started buying homes. So then we see a downslide of new construction of completed new construction homes left on the market. So we got down to 39,000 in 2022, we got down to 31,000. And then in 2023, we started seeing an uptick of mortgage rates, interest rates. People are like, I don't know if I can, I want the 2% to 3%. And they started to uptick to 4%, 5% stuff. So then it swings back up now to houses are on the market, completed new construction on the market. So we go 70,000 2024, 88,000 2025. We're at 119,000. Says the February figure of 119,000 unsold completed new homes published this week is the highest level since 2009, when they had 126,000. Right here, this shows the number of unsold completed homes. So this is new construction only, and it kind of shows you how it fluctuated through the end of the 90s all the way to the current time, and how we're about to cross that threshold again, where new construction unsold homes are increasing again. David said, "Wow, this is quite an increase." Yes, it's an increase. It's a very increase, and again, it is all based. A lot of this data is from the Sun Belt states again. So I don't know how it's looking in your particular area, David, in Omaha, but in the Sun Belt states, this is where they kind of took some of this data from to show you what's happening. He said, Clark, do you have Lennar? Yes, we have Lennar. Lennar is a big builder down here. Of course, D.R. Horton is down here. And I'm not the biggest fan of D.R. Horton. But everybody has their own opinions of what they like. So I can't tell you, if you're a fan of D.R. Horton, I can't tell you like, oh, well, I don't like it, to each his own, right? But that's showing like that increase. Says highest level completed unsold homes 119 since July 2009. It says the number of unsold completed new single family homes into its historical context. We have Resi Club's finished home supply index. It says the index is one simple calculation. So if you click on that, and you'll kind of get more of that. But basically, this kind of goes into more in regards to, it says, if you look at unsold completed single family new builds as a share of the single family housing starts, see chart below. So right here, it says, that said, if new construction or economy hit a big speed bump and housing starts dropped by 20% to 30%, this ratio would spike quickly, even if unsold builds didn't increase much. So it says this right here is a chart. It says a higher index score indicates a softer national new construction market with greater supply slack, while a lower index score signifies a tighter new construction market with less slack. So this is basically showing all this. So again, in 2019, that's when it reached a very high peak. But now, as you see the levels, we are hitting back up here in these Sunbelt states again. Of course, it's not up here where this great financial, the great financial crisis happened with the housing situation. However, we are creeping back up because things started to come back down, and then it really dipped in this pandemic part, and now it's creeping back up to hit everything. Hey, what's going on, Chloe? Hey, what's going on? Happy Sunday. Uh, I had a question too. Me and my dad talk about this a lot. Is it better for me to come on at 7 o'clock? I really didn't want to change the time because we kind of got used to coming on at 6:30. But if people feel like it's better to come on at 7, we can do so. I just don't want to keep people here late at night watching these lives and I kind of like 6:30 better because it allows us to, if we need to push overtime, we can without going too far to the midnight hours, even though we're not going to midnight. While the U.S. Census Bureau doesn't give us a greater market by market breakdown on these unsold new builds, we have a good idea where they are based on where they are based on where their total activity inventory for sale, including existing homes, have spiked above pre-pandemic 2019 levels. Most of those areas are in the Sun Belt area, the Gulf. So let's go and see the Sun Belt, so we can kind of get some of what states might be included in the Sun Belt region, right? So if you guys are looking in some of these states, I would definitely say make sure, I'm trying to make this bigger, I don't know if you guys see it. Make sure if you're looking in these particular states to ask questions in regards to the new construction, right? If you're buying a new construction home, ask questions because we're seeing an uptick of these homes sitting longer in these markets, right? Of course, Georgia, I know a lot of realtors are going to say, we don't have, if you're in Georgia, I hear it all the time. They're like, we don't have that much inventory. I'm like, we do have a lot of inventory down here. Um, we are seeing a increase of new construction being built. I drive around every day, you know, because I'm able to, and thank God to be able to do so, I'm able to do real estate full time. So I drive around every day and I see new, new grading happening, um, new clearing happening as far as new subdivisions being kind of laid out as the plumbing being set down, the construction boxes going up per se, all those different things. So I see that we have a lot going on. Um, and so these particular states, again, you have Texas. We know Texas. We know Florida is on the uptick. Georgia, and then again, if you're in these states, Arizona, we heard they were kind of having an uptick of new construction. Um, I haven't heard much about New Mexico, but I'm guessing because these are some of the Sun Belt states. But the ones I've heard a lot about, of course, is I'm in Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and then these other states are considered Sunbelt. So I would definitely say look into those states when it comes to new construction. David said, "Do what time works best for you?" Okay, no problem. I just wanted to see, but 6:30 does work best for me. But I know typically we kind of get more people jump on around after 7. So Chloe said, "Hi, David. I just saw you over at Jackie Baker's channel. I know I watched them together. It was awesome. They did a awesome job. Very informative. Just wonderful people. Very knowledgeable. Great realtors. So it's always great to be in a pool of people like them. But nonetheless, I want to thank you guys for coming here tonight and joining us in conversation. Thank you for jumping in, Chloe. Thank you, David and Matney. Thank you to Kevin as well, Kevin Jefferson. Of course, my dad all the time, James Clark. MH08, I appreciate you. Angela Matney, thank you for coming on board. Also, Sam Matney, I don't know where you're at. I want to give you a shout out too. I appreciate you coming on. Got to go back through these comments. Sam Matney for joining as well tonight. I appreciate everybody who is able to make it over here around this time. They're always joining conversation. He said, we have 7 people watching. Make sure you like the video. Yes, please make sure you like the video. Even on your way out, please make sure you like the video. It definitely helps to boost me through the algorithm to get more views over here, to have even more great conversation amongst the people that are watching tonight. Chloe said, I'm always late, but tune in for the replay. Well, I appreciate you, Chloe. I appreciate you tuning in for the replay. I try not to go too off track with me because I can, when I talk, I can start talking as you guys know, and I don't want to take us too far off the beaten path. But I appreciate you always going back and watching the replay if you have time. Again, have a wonderful Sunday. I am about to go back to working on a comparable analysis for this particular client. Also, get myself ready for the additional basketball games tomorrow because I'm gonna watch my basketball. Thanks again, Kevin. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel. If you have any questions, my email is below, and I'm able to answer what I can at the best ability that I can. And also, if you're looking to be referred to a realtor in a different state or city, reach out and I can do my best to connect you with any of my referral partners. All right. So take care. He said, you do it. She said, Chloe said, you do a great job. Have a wonderful week. Thank you, Chloe. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful week as well. Clark, it is only a matter of time before your channel takes off. From your, what they say, from your mouth to God's ears back down here to let it happen. So I appreciate you, David, as well. All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.